Hello to you. My name is Maria Kądzielska and this is Poland Daily Culture. And today is more Poland Daily Literature because we're still talking about The Doll by Bolesław Prus. And here with me is Julia Wilde. Thank you for this conversation. And I would say we share the same passion when it comes to
Yes, that's wonderful, right? That we know what we are talking about and we know how great it is, and we are agreeing on it. Right?
I was surprised once because recently the last Nobel Prize winner of Polish literature is, of course, Tokarczuk, and she wrote a very short story about the doll, trying to explain what the doll is, like what's the meaning of the title, since we don't really know. It might come from the fact that there is a lawsuit in the coming when the main tool of the lawsuit is the doll. But of course everyone says that Izabela Łęcka is a doll herself as well.
Yes, I really love the title, I must say, because at first Prus wanted to title the book Three Generations, and I'm so happy that he didn't, because for me it sounds very much like Dickens.
Dickens, I wanted to say, it's
yes,
Dickens.
Yes, it is. And for me, he's so much better, he's so much developed and so much...
I would say he's lighter than Dickens.
Yes, and more realistic, because Dickens has a lot of those eccentric characters that are grotesque, because in The Doll we also have eccentrics, but you can believe that they could exist, right? And in the case of Dickens, you can feel that there is this exaggeration. And I must say that the fact that Prus, who was inspired by Dickens, who was 30 years older than him, but he was able to depart, to move on, and to choose his own literary path is wonderful. And this short but intriguing title, The Doll, is just wonderful.
Because it makes you wonder what the doll is. And of course it's like makes, in fact, that you ask yourself, is she the doll? Like where will be the doll? When will we find her? Yes. Or maybe Wokulski is the doll himself because he's like driven by his passions after all. Because we were talking about, in the previous episode, we were talking about the plot, and we were in the moment when Wokulski, he saw Izabela for the first time in the theater. And he is the owner of a shop in Warsaw, which he inherited after his late wife. But he's still not a super rich man. And he knows that the only way to make Izabela impressed is to become truly rich. So he uses the Russian-Turkish war. Yes, he goes there. And he becomes a food supplier for the army, which is also risky, because he can lose money so easily. War is changeable. But he achieves, and he comes back with 250,000 rupees.
Or
rubles.
Even more, I guess. So in general, it's 10 times more than he had, right?
Yes.
So it's amazing. He's just a millionaire almost, not fully, but yes.
Yes, and in Russian Empire, being Polish, but kind of melting into the rules of the I would say the society, but what he wants to win Izabela, win her over.
Yes, exactly. What's interesting, today it occurred to me that a bit similar like Great Gatsby, where Jay Gatsby also makes a fortune to impress Daisy. So,
true, exactly.
Right, yes.
There is a similarity in this, but Daisy wants him in a way. At least she was in love with him.
Yes, of course, it's much more complex, and it's not. But yes, the way to impress the woman
how man is driven to achieve things he wouldn't achieve otherwise if not for this woman.
Yes.
The first moment of the book is the moment when I actually sympathize with Izabela, because Wokulski is much older than her. He's 45. And Izabela is 20-something. We don't really know, 23?
I think around 25, but something.
Okay,
like
so
this.
for those times, she's already, she should be married.
Yeah.
But she rejected many candidates before. and Wokulski appears, and he runs her from so many angles. Like he buys
The deaths of her father.
exactly.
Yes, that's true. Yes, that's
Here he is a friend of his aunt. Here he goes to the same church and he gives a huge donation. So it's like it becomes suddenly he appears in her life, and it's totally around her everywhere she gazes. And of course her father is in a difficult financial situation which she doesn't really fully understand.
That's true, but on the other hand, I think that to some extent we know more than she does.
Agreed.
Right? So we know about all the behind scenes, let's say, and she does not. She gradually learns, but she has a hunch, let's say. She feels that there is something wrong, but she has no evidence. But yes, that's true that he becomes omnipresent in her life.
And here's a moment when I couldn't really so much blame Isabella that she felt threatened by someone who is not from her sphere, after all. And I understand that the society is in a moment of change. Aristocracy becomes much poorer, but still they don't want to work. And there is the middle class, like merchants, like Wokulski.
But we need to remember that he's also, he comes from nobility, but his family lost everything because of the uprising and other circumstances. So and at some point, Mrs. Zasławska says that he is more noble origin than she is, in fact, that it's an old, good Polish nobility who doesn't owe anything to Tsar or to Emperor, Austrian Emperor. So it's very complex. And the problem with Isabella is that she's terribly superficial. And I have no sympathy for her, because I think that the first conversation on Wokulski is where she says that his hands are so repulsive because he looks like a tree trunk with red hands. And then her cousin explains that he had those hands frostbitten when he was in exile in Siberia because of the uprising. So it's a noble injury, if we could say that, but it doesn't change anything, right? She still considers him unworthy man.
And we'll talk about the uprising because I think it's an important element to talk. It kind of shadowed a lot of Polish literature after the moment in the next episode. And I do hope we shared and passed some of the passion to you, to the doll by Bolesław Prus. And thank you very much for watching Poland Daily Culture.